What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing an EGR delete on my 2019 Ford Super Duty. This is not legal. This is only for educational purposes. This is not really much of a how-to, but I'm going to walk you through it on how I'm doing it. For starters, I'm not draining the coolant, or at least not. I'm going to try not to, like a lot of people do. But the first thing, what I recommend is what I've been seeing a lot of people say is they spray penetrating oil down on these lower two bolts like 3 days in advance. So there's one right there, and then you can kind of see the other one back there, right there. The one kind of in the light right there, that one are the two hardest. The one in the far back is the one they say that's more prone to breaking. Well, I didn't know that. So what I did, since I literally just found this out, is I took a ratchet and I just lightly tugged on it to see if it'd come loose, and mine actually came right loose. So mine I won't struggle with. So mine I made sure all these were loose before I started taking anything else apart, because if I was gonna have issues with that, I didn't want to put everything else back together. So now that I got all those loose for these two pipes, I loosen this and this. I'm going to take the intake off. Alright, to get the intake out, there's a couple of these little clips on your box right here. You just pop them off. There's one here, and then two in the back side. There is a plug right here. What you want to do, you pull this little red tab out and then push right here, and that pops out. You pull this up so this is off, and then loosen these are 7mm, but then it should pop right out of there like that. Now I got a lot more room. I'm gonna shove something in there so it doesn't get dirt and stuff down by my turbo, but that just opened up a lot more room. So the next thing you'll do is you'll unplug this piece. It was right in here. Pull this red tab back, and then pull this off, and then this one right here, which goes to this piece. Unplug that one, and then there's a vacuum line right here. You can hear it. Look at my finger, look at that. Got some suction to it. So what you'll do is you'll get this piece in your kit. It's a cap. So when you pull this off, you'll pull the end of this off. Let's see if I can prop my phone up here a little bit. Alright, you pull the end of it off. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Once you get that off, you'll take your new plug that they sent you in your kit, whatever kit you go with. I think they're all pretty much the same. Put that over top, and then I'm going to throw a zip tie over top that. They came with zip ties. Not really sure what they're all for, but I'm going to put one over that. In the kit, it'll come with one of these little barbed pieces. You'll take this line here and it'll connect to this line. This one gets removed with the EGR. So I put a bunch of paper towel under here because your intake and stuff is open right here and you don't want to get any coolant inside your intake. And it's going to be probably a decent amount of coolant coming out of here. I'm not really quite sure yet. So I actually had little to nothing come out. I did grab a tiny bolt. Not the right size. So I had little to nothing come out, but I did grab a bolt. I'm going to jam in here. Just so this one can't leak. And this one seems to not be leaking anything yet. Alright, so what I did is I just cut the ends of these little hoses off and then pulled these off because I could not. I tried to cut these and for some reason couldn't cut these. These are actually very freaking strong. But then you just slide the two hoses together. I am going to need hose clamps because mine just don't stay together real tight for some reason. So yeah, paper towel caught all the coolant. So for right now, it's going to be good enough. And until I get that, I'm going to have to go get some hose clamps because I don't have hose clamps for that. Next, we're going to take these off. I already have them all loose. Like I said, you should do this before starting anything to make sure they're all going to come loose. but I'm just going to take these out. So you'll have 2 bolts here, 2 bolts at the bottom, the hard ones to get at, 2 here, 2 here, and then the 1 right here. And then take those pipes out. So you actually just unplug this. It goes and wraps around right here underneath this, and it's on here. I just pulled the tab out and then was able to get this better and unplug it. But then you can just pull that right out, just like that. But this is why you delete these trucks. I mean, look at all the soot build up beside these, and that's why shit gets clogged up. And I mean, this truck's, it's just, I don't know, it sucks. Shit, look at that. This shit just clogs up so bad. Okay. Now that that's off, we're going to start taking the bolts off for the EGR. Alright, so you need to take these 3 bolts out. There's 1, 2, and then there's 1 right here. Those are all 8 millimeter. There's 1 in the back here that's also an 8 millimeter. And there's 1 here's a stud. It's a 12. There's 1 right here for this bracket. 1 straight across from the center one. Those are both 8s. And then there's 1 in the back right where that bracket is, right here. You can see I'm pointing to it. That's got I think a 12 or I think it's a 12 millimeter on top, and then I think underneath was an 8 or a 10. I can't remember. I'll let you know when I get it out. And then you'll have to pry that bracket up off. And then you also have to take these 2 off right here as well. As you can see on the black piece. So I actually screwed up. This one that's on the black one right here, that's actually one of the top 3. The one that I'm meant is the one that's right here. It's kind of hidden. It's kind of a pain in the butt. It's right down there. And then you got your back one on the stud back there. So that top one is a 10 millimeter. And then you'll have to get something in there to try to pry that bracket off. I got a big long pry bar. I'm gonna try to get in here. No, I guess mine just flipped up and around. So then there's a 12 millimeter on the bottom. So you want to make sure you take this off. You can pull this thing out. I accidentally broke mine, which it doesn't matter because it just stays with it. Kind of pull this up out of the way. There is a little zip tie here actually that I'm going to cut. I had to do it off camera. I had to use 2 hands. But then the other thing is you take off this right here. There's like a 2 little things on the bottom you squeeze together, I think. I got it squeezed up a little. I showed a little more paper towel in there in case it leaks out of here. Which actually it didn't. It's kind of nasty. Kind of pull that up out of the way the best that you can. Everything is loose and should be unhooked, unbolted. I don't see anything else hooked up on here. It should be ready to come out. So I'm going to shove a pail underneath. I am going to make a huge mess. I kind of actually wish I would have had a pan, like a bigger, like a tote, something to shove underneath there. Probably would work better than a 5-gallon pail, but I'll just have to clean it up when I'm done. So I'm going to shove this pail underneath, and then that should be ready to start popping out. Well, to be honest, I don't know where to put the pail. I can't shove it underneath far enough. I don't think it's going to catch shit. We will just have to clean it up when we are done. Yep, totally missing my pail. Shit. Let it drain out for a while. Yeah, a big, like, low profile giant tote would work best. Because I made a huge mess. I did shove an oil pan underneath there, but it's coming out in such a wide area that it is what it is. I'm gonna let it finish draining and making a mess, and then we'll start pulling that out. So that's all off. Clean it up a little bit, and then take this. There's a little dowel here. This one stayed in the EGR. I don't know if it's supposed to or not, but yeah, it just sits on there. Make sure your O-rings are in there, just like so. And then start threading these in. So I'm gonna tighten this one up, and then we'll do the other. So for the one up on the intake, you use this one. That's got the gasket. The only thing is with my kit, if for some reason came with these longer bolts, but they're too long to fit in the one that goes in the block, they bottom out on that one. So I'm not really quite sure why, and I don't have enough of these short ones to do everything else. And plus I'll have one left over, plus I'll still have that. So I don't understand that, so I just used these two shorter ones that came out in a different place. They actually came out of this. They're the same thread though, so I'm going to use those because they're shorter. And then I'm gonna put that plate on with the gasket. And don't over crank all these. I mean, they got O-rings on them, so they'll seal. So yeah, do that, and then we'll move on to the last plug down there. And then for the last one, for the exhaust one, you'll have the one that's got this little bung in it. On this short pipe, you'll take this out and put it in there, and then plug this back in. They say that this one doesn't read accurately. You got to use the one that's out of the first. This will read your EGTs. Though you got to use the one that came out of your DPF. But I don't have my DPF, so I'm gonna have to get a different one, like for the DPF to put in there, so it is accurate. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to pull that out quick. I was having some troubles getting that one out. It's really tight in there, so I'm gonna pull that out and then we'll put that on. When you put this one on, you do got to use the old gasket, so make sure you keep the old gasket that was down there, because you will use that. And put that on, and then that, just like that. Alright, so unfortunately I cannot get mine out. It's rounding the thing off. I tried heat and it won't come out. It's just rounding off really bad. So I did have one that was out of a DPF, but the wires have been cut on it. So it doesn't need to be plugged in. It just won't have EGT attempts. I'm going to order a new sensor so I have the right one. This is the one, like I said, out of the DPF. You screw it in, tighten it up, clean up the end, and that's it. She's ready to drop into the truck. And I need the gasket. Alright. So the little tab, it came off this direction, so that's the same way I'm putting it back on. Like so. That, and then the new bolts. All right, that one's in. That one the gasket fought me a little bit, but yeah, 3 bolts, those 2 with the probe, and then that one. As far as this plug, I'm gonna zip tie it up out of the way for now. This is the one that will plug into it when I get a new sensor, so I'll just order a new sensor today yet, and then that'll plug in, and then I'll be able to run or read EGTs. Just zip tie these up out of the way somewhere. This one you won't need either. Zip tie that up out of the way. Those are all old plugs, and same with this capped off vacuum hose. Zip tie them up all out of the way. Make sure you click this back on. I'm gonna go get a different hose clamp for this because I don't know why, but this is extremely loose. Not really sure what the heck's going on there. That one, and then I gotta get 2 hose clamps for this one too, because the ones that they sent were just way too big. I don't know if this kit's universal. I'm not really quite sure, because I got a big hose too that I didn't use. But yeah, I should be able to throw the intake back on, and then just get them zip ties and stuff, and then hook them hose clamps up and top her out with coolant, and she should be ready to go. Alright, it should be ready to start. I put the intake back on, you just got the 2 clamps and then that back on. Don't be an idiot like me and zip tie everything up and then realize that you accidentally zip tied this back in. So you're going to cut everything and re-hook it until you can hook this back up. But yeah, do the 2 plugs. Typically you'll have this one plugged in, but mine, like I said, I don't because I can't get that old one out. So that'll have to do. Re-put that back into place, make sure that's locked. This I just got kind of sitting here. I did hose clamp this. I found 2 hose clamps I had sitting here. Put that there. You know, make sure that if you do have this one unplugged, that it's zip tied away so it doesn't get caught in the fan or the belt. I just zip tied mine to one of these plugs right here, so it's just chilling there, zip tied. And yeah, that should really be everything. She's ready to fire up to see if we got any leaks. Yeah, I made a huge mess. Don't forget you will have to add coolant. I'm going to let mine kind of air out and then I'm going to top it off. I don't know if it's just me, but it sounds healthier. Could just be me, but man, it looks so much better. More room. Now we can do the intercooler piping. We're probably going to do the CCV revolt pretty soon. We'll probably do that before the intercooler piping. The intercooler piping will come soon. No leaks. She's running good. Ooh, listen to this baby purr. A full 5-inch straight pipe. This is the old EGR. It needs a bath, something terrible. Alright, truck's out of the garage. It needs to get a bath now. I just need to top it off with coolant yet, but I gotta pick up coolant at the dealership on Monday. But it'll be fine for now. But as for the EGR for the bolts, yeah, I still got coolant in it coming out. So it sits in the truck like this. This is the front of it. Those bolts, you got those 3 on top right here, and then you have the one here. This has got the stud on it, and then a normal one back here, and then this one way in the back's got the stud on it also. Other than that, it's pretty simple. It's kind of heavy, kind of awkward to pull out, but yeah, there's quite a bit of coolant in it yet. But yeah, that's all there is to it. So if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. Be a lot more coming. We'll probably do the CCV reroute pretty soon, and then I'm actually going to do a fun switch on this truck because the traction control will not stay kicked up.